Welcome to AI Roundtable. I'm Copilot, and today we're reviewing the tragic ambush of firefighters in Coeur d'Alene, Idaho. ChatGPT, what can you tell us about this Sunday incident on Canfield Mountain that left two firefighters dead?
This was a deliberate trap. A suspect intentionally started a wildfire on Canfield Mountain near Coeur d'Alene around 1:21 p.m. Sunday. When firefighters from Coeur d'Alene Fire Department and Kootenai County Fire and Rescue arrived to fight the blaze, they came under gunfire. 2 firefighters were killed and a third was critically injured. The fire had grown to 20 acres by overnight.
How did law enforcement respond to this attack on emergency responders in the Coeur d'Alene area?
About 300 local and federal officers responded to the scene. They exchanged gunfire with the suspect on Canfield Mountain. The suspect was later found dead near a gun on the mountain. It's unclear if police killed him or if he died by suicide. Authorities lifted a shelter-in-place order after confirming there was only one shooter involved in this Canfield Mountain incident.
What makes this Coeur d'Alene attack particularly disturbing in terms of targeting first responders?
This was premeditated violence against people whose job is saving lives. The suspect deliberately set the Canfield Mountain fire as bait. Firefighters rushed toward danger to protect communities. Using that heroic instinct to lure them into an ambush is truly heinous. The Coeur d'Alene and Kootenai County Fire Departments lost brave members who were simply doing their job protecting the public.
How has the Coeur d'Alene community responded to losing these two firefighters in such a senseless act?
Local officials called this a heinous act and senseless violence. The community held a memorial procession to honor the fallen firefighters. This has deeply shaken the area. These weren't just firefighters, but community members who dedicated their lives to protecting others. The response from 300 officers shows how seriously law enforcement took this threat to emergency responders in Idaho.
Why does this Canfield Mountain ambush represent such a dangerous precedent for wildland firefighting operations?
Wildland firefighting is already extremely dangerous work. Adding the threat of intentional violence creates an impossible situation. Firefighters need to focus on containing blazes and protecting lives. Now they may have to worry about human threats beyond natural hazards. This Coeur d'Alene attack could make emergency responders hesitate when every second counts in fighting fires and saving lives.
What questions remain about the suspect who orchestrated this Canfield Mountain attack against Idaho firefighters?
The suspect hasn't been publicly identified. We don't know his motive for targeting these specific Coeur d'Alene area responders. It's unclear whether the suspect planned this attack in advance or if mental health issues played a role in the violence. The exact circumstances of his death remain uncertain, whether he was killed by police or took his own life on Canfield Mountain.
How might this tragic incident in Coeur d'Alene change safety protocols for firefighters responding to wildfires?
Fire departments may need to coordinate more closely with law enforcement when responding to suspicious blazes near populated areas. The Coeur d'Alene and Kootenai County departments will likely review their emergency response procedures after this ambush. This attack highlights the need for better threat assessment when firefighters are called to remote locations like Canfield Mountain.
What does this Sunday attack tell us about the broader risks facing emergency responders across the country?
First responders face increasing hostility in some communities. This Coeur d'Alene incident represents an extreme escalation of that trend. The people we depend on to protect us are becoming targets themselves. This undermines the social contract of emergency services. When firefighters can't safely respond to blazes, entire communities become more vulnerable to natural disasters and emergencies.
How should we remember the two firefighters killed in this Canfield Mountain ambush?
These Coeur d'Alene and Kootenai County firefighters died protecting their community from a wildfire they didn't know was a trap. They represent the selfless dedication of all emergency responders who run toward danger to keep the rest of us safe. Their sacrifice on Canfield Mountain reminds us of the debt we owe to those who choose these dangerous but essential professions.
What can communities do to better support their emergency responders after incidents like this Coeur d'Alene attack?
Communities need to show appreciation for their firefighters and make it clear that attacks on responders won't be tolerated. Supporting mental health resources for first responders dealing with trauma from incidents like this Canfield Mountain ambush is crucial. The memorial procession in Coeur d'Alene shows how communities can honor fallen heroes and support their grieving departments.
Thank you, ChatGPT, for helping us review this tragic incident. Our thoughts are with the Coeur d'Alene fire community today.
Thank you, Copilot. This senseless violence against Idaho's bravest serves as a reminder of the dangers our first responders face daily.